Hello and welcome to Searching for Service, brought to you by Rotary District 5950 and 5960. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Joe Kirk.
And I'm Chad Larson.
Before we dive into who our guest is today, Joe's going to remind us of our show's purpose.
Thanks, Kelly. Welcome to Searching for Service. This is a podcast that explores how to serve and connect in today's world through Rotary. Here we share inspiring stories and have great guests on to really help us grow the service community. So join us on our journey of fellowship and impact.
Awesome.
That's really good.
Yeah. What do you expect? Come on. Come on.
We have yet again another special guest on, and today it is Bernice Cunningham. He is the executive director and founder of Planting Change Foundation. Welcome, Bernice.
Thank you so much. It's a big honor to be here and work with the Rotarians around the world.
Yeah, well, it's an honor to have you on our show as well. Before we really dive into you, can you just give our listeners just a little brief recap of that connection as a Rotarian partner to Planting Change Foundation?
Yes, well, the history begins with a well. There was a project that Rotarians were trying to build in Nicaragua. I'm currently in Managua, Nicaragua. I'm from Central America. And we start talking with the LIFT program, the Rotarians from Minnesota. And we start talking about this well project that we already built. And that's how the connection started. Since then, we have met a lot of group of them visiting to Nicaragua. And I went back to Minnesota and talking a lot of clubs. So we have a really strong relationship and we're really aligned with the Rotarians' values.
Wonderful. Cool. That's really great. So in this first segment, we love to have our listeners get to know who our guest is. And so I guess the first question that we have is, you touched on it, but where exactly is it that you grew up?
Where I grew up?
Yes.
Okay, so I grew up in Granada, Nicaragua. This is a small town by a lake, and it's a really familiar Catholic small city type where you could walk to school as a kid and come back, where there's really small crime. It's a really, really peaceful life. So I grew up there I'm a small town guy type of person, and I live in my country here in Nicaragua. So that's where I grew up.
Wonderful.
Very cool. Very cool. And where, I was reading about your background a little bit, and looks like you branched out and have done a lot since you grew up. So tell us a little bit more about your background and your journey to eventually starting and founding the foundation.
Okay, so everything started when I was in third year of law school, and my dream was to be a business lawyer and to wear a suit and to be in an office with a lot of glasses. So when I was in third year of law school, I went to an internship in this big law firm. And the first hour that was in my dream job, I understand that I hate it. That I hate every second, that I hate wearing these clothes, that was not comfortable, that the shoes was not comfortable, that the work was very boring, and I just hate everything of it. And that's his life when now I call it wishful thinking, and it's these things that we wish we like, but when we do it, we really don't like it. That we think, that we imagine in our imagination. So I really hate to be business law and the not humane things, the not strong values of that sector of the law. And I couldn't take it. So I went in a big crisis, and I was thinking I choose the wrong career, law. But then a lake, we have a big lake in my city that it was a lot of garbage. They were dumping a lot of garbage. And we understood that was very dumb to do, to destroy your water resources, especially in a country that will need it for climate change. So we talked with my friends, and we said, if we don't do something about it, who's going to do it?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not now, when it's going to be? So with those two questions that we reflect on, I started a journey that I didn't know it at that moment, but I started a journey in environmental law, and it has been the biggest journey of my life. And then I re-loved my career representing water, representing the most vulnerable communities, and representing all the injustice of the world was the mission of my life. So when you find your mission of your life, you don't work another day in your life.
Wow, that is so so good, and so many, like, I want to go off on so many tangents, but I'm not going to. I'm
It's
not going to.
it's pretty great. Like, you should applaud yourself for recognizing that it didn't work right away and you didn't gut it out for a long period of time and get stuck where it sounds like. How long did it take you to, when you kind of changed directions in law, to discovering the lake and the pollution issue and stuff like that? Was it
Mhm.
quick, or was there a dark time where you just were lost?
Okay, hating my job, it took me 1 hour. And after I start. And changing the journey, it took me 3 months. It took me
Okay.
three dark months. It
I was
wasn't
gonna
a long time before I find the lake, but yeah, it was 3 months in that job.
That's
Okay.
that's still remarkably quick. I mean, a
Yeah.
complete awakening of like, oh
Well,
crap.
what I'm hearing, and I am going to tie this to Rotary and just the kind of the values that they stand on. It's very evident in your story, Bernice, that you understood what your core values were, and understood that going this particular path with business law wasn't going to align with that, and that there was something else better. Sounds like a lot of the values that you hold are very much in line with those of Rotary, hence the Rotarian partnership with Planting Change Foundation. So that was my little, like, tangential, but not really.
When did you start the foundation? How long ago?
Okay, so this time that I was talking about the lake, it was 2009, and then we do the cleanup of the lake, and then I start working in another NGO. I start working in 2012 to 2014. Then I founded an organization in Nicaragua that is called the Nicaragua Center of Environmental Conservation, and we worked during a lot of years, doing a lot of good work, like banning plastic bags from schools, banning all single-use plastics from schools. We're very focused in education because we think nobody thinks in the long term. Everybody wants to think in the short term, but we say, like, we're going to do the job that nobody else wants to do. So we started the long term, and we were a very strong Nicaraguan organization. But in 2018, I live in Latin America, where our politics is wild. So in 2018, we have like a really unrest, and the country went to the drain economics, and it was a big social break in my country. So our organization had to close in 2018 and going to zero. And I had to went to the US for a little bit. And in 2019, after I thought that everything was over, I went to a World Environmental Law meeting in Eugene, Oregon, and they asked us, what do you need to continue? And they gave us the Planting Change Foundation. It was founded in Eugene, Oregon in 2019. And since then, we start a new journey after this disaster in 2028. Then we rebuilt the organization in 2020, and everything was great, and we were great again, and we had all our plans, beautiful plans, and then COVID came, and COVID teaches that you going to zero again. So I think one of the biggest things that I could take about the unrest in 2018 and about COVID, two things. First thing, in 2018, when we went to zero, the Planting Change Foundation appeared. And in COVID, when we have nothing else to do, we have to stay home, we write our biggest project. So every time that I see a disaster now or a crisis, I say, opportunities. So going
really
to zero is always an opportunity to grow, and you don't need to get sad or depressed, because disasters are really opportunities behind that.
Wow.
Man, I feel like I'm getting a life lesson right
Very
now from
much.
you,
Yeah, it's
Bertus.
inspirational.
Neat.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, so did you have to flee the country, or did you just choose to leave?
I choose to leave. I choose to leave. A lot of people have to went out of the country. We're still in a lot of problems for that. You're not allowed to talk too much about it, so I will not comment too much on the politics of it, because it's really complex. You just have to imagine Cuba, Russia, Nicaragua, Venezuela, and if you keep your opinion, your politics opinions are really low, it's better for you. So I had to leave the country and start over from zero, basically from zero. It's just imagine if your organization goes to zero. All our donors call us in 1 week and tell us it's gone. Like the whole country, it was not just my organization. The whole country went to drains for this unrest.
Huh.
That's
Very interesting.
pretty crazy, and something that we can probably dive into a little bit more in this next segment too.
Yeah, I want to learn more too about as you launch what the core values and mission was as you got going, because it sounds like you had the vision and a couple stop starts that had to get you going. So
Yeah.
we'll get to it after the break.
That sounds good. As a reminder, you are listening to Searching for Service. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Joe Kirk.
And I'm Chad Larson. We'll be back.
Hello and welcome back to Searching for Service, brought to you by Rotary District 5950 and 5960. I am Kelly Kirk.
I'm Joe Kirk.
And I'm Chad Larson.
As a reminder, you can find us on all of your favorite platforms, and
you find us by looking us up by putting in Searching for Service.
Hey, you can get us on your favorite podcasting platforms, and we also have a YouTube channel, and we love 5-star reviews, and you can like and share.
That's right.
we got this. It's fun to have the three of us here. If you are tuning in for the first time, we have Bernice Cunningham. He is the executive director of Planting Change Foundation. And you're probably wondering, what exactly is Planting Change Foundation? Well, this segment, we're going to dive into that. So last segment, we took the opportunity to get to know Bernice a little bit more in depth. And I think for this one, let's start off with, what is Planting Change?
Hello, thank you. So the Planting Change Foundation was born with one simple idea, that we're going to connect all the U.S. resources, capacity, and knowledge with the grassroots organizations of Latin America. And we're going to build these organizations for two reasons: the conservation of the environment and the human sustainable development. In our vision, conservation of the environment and human sustainable development are not two things that have to fight each other. For example, if we go to a community that is poor or have lack of opportunities, and they have a lot of natural resources, the first thing that a group of people think is, let's take all these resources and make money, but then you have no more resources because you exploded them. But if your business is to conserve these resources, is better. For example, ecotourism. There's a type of tourism that the only thing that they want is walking a mountain that's nothing built, and you could charge a fee to go into. You have some of the renewable energy sector too, that it could be a business, and it will decrease the emissions of carbon dioxide. So you have a lot of examples where you could combine income, because let's be sincere, at the end of the day, poor people need income. That's basically what they need. We could talk about a lot of things and charity, but the worst thing that you could do with the poor is giving stuff for free, because you hurting their dignity. If you do that, you hurting their dignity, and you creating a worse problem that is assistentialism. So one thing that we have clear when we start our organization is that we're not going to be an assistance organization. So what we do, we go to very vulnerable communities. We focus on the rural areas, and we understand, study, and ask the people. The most important thing is ask the people, because you don't know. You have no clue what to do. They know. They really know what they need to do. So they tell us, we need you to help us building this well. This will change. The kids will have water. The kids could go to school. It will help the economics. People, so we go and build a well. Other people tell us we need agriculture because we have this land and we need to sell. So we go, we build the agricultures, we connect them with the markets, but we have a very clear setup that vulnerable people need income, need a higher income. So that's a little bit of the thing of the planting change. But I will explain now. We have 4 programs. One program is for leadership. We focus on youth leadership, and we basically teach them how to administrate the natural resources of their community. The other program is a water lab. We have a water lab facility, a big water lab. It's a big project that we could test water, physical, chemical, and bacteriological tests, where we go test vulnerable communities, what is their quality of water, and we connect that with 2,800 students in the elementary school. So a kid from 6 years old or 7 years old could run a sophisticated research paper with the help of specialist biologists, environmental, and universities, because we want to create in these small ages the research capacity. Then we have the agricultural one, that we basically give seeds and try to disappear the intermediary of agriculture and connect them directly with the markets. And that's our programs.
So a lot of what you do is running alongside of these these communities, and saying, you have an agricultural need. Okay, let's test your water. Let's test what kind of crops that you can grow, and then help them get access to those crops. And then it sounds like that you help them also get access to secondary markets where they can sell the product. So you're kind of creating an ecosystem for them that they can sustain, that kind of removes the requirement of you long term. Is that
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. The first thing that when we go to a vulnerable community, we have a very strong speech. We tell them, this project is not our project. Like, we have water in our house. This well is your well. You need to responsible. So what we are facilitators of the process. And now that we're working in agriculture, it's the same thing. We tell them, we're going to give you the seeds, but you have to put it, you have to grow it, and we're going to help you connect with the market. So basically, yes, we're a facilitator of income to poor communities.
Do you have a favorite kind of story of a success story that you guys have accomplished? Do you have one that kind of sticks out to you?
Yes, I want to talk about this Rotarian project. It's a well in El Corozo. So this community was without water for almost 20 years. No water. They have to walk 2 kilometers at 3 a.m. to get water. So they were very focused on getting this well. We went in the community, and this project has everything against. It was too expensive because the water was too deep, and the politics of it was very hard, and it was really hard to break. But when we tell the people this is not our well, this is your well, everything changed. Everything, the dynamics changed. So make it shorter. Now the well has been built with the help of the Rotarians, and right now this project was built by the community, and the community administrate the waters, not the government. So in Nicaragua we have CAPS, that means Community Commission to Administrate Water, and this CAPS is a model CAPS for Nicaragua. Right now they have $5,000. It might not sound a lot for the U.S. Context, but for a poor community with low income, have $5,000 in reserves to come to water is an amazing history. And now, one of the things that touched me a lot is the old people that they told me some people die waiting for this project, and I'm so happy that my kids will grow up different. Like when we talk about water, it's very easy for us not to imagine how it's to live without water. But I dare you to cut your water off your house for 1 week, and you will understand how hard your life is when it's water. So I think this is an example where if you empower, because we could do another thing, just go and give the well to the people and leave.
Right.
But that would not be sustainable. So one of the big things that I love from the projects, we always say to my team, when the people doesn't need you anymore, then is when your project is success.
Mm-hmm.
Then you could say your project is success. So these people doesn't need us anymore. They have their own money, they have their own income, everything is in order. So for me, that's a successful project when you don't need to be intervening in the community anymore, and when the project make their own income. So that's one of the histories that I like the most.
Do you guys stay in touch with the communities over time? Like what's the touch points look like, as they take over the project, as they, take over the sustainability of the long-term success of that program? What does your involvement still look like along the way? I mean, do you guys check up on the project or, have points of contact?
Yes, we always have a contact with the community, but as an advisor, not as we don't resolve any of their issues. Like the other day, they call us, oh, our computer break. That's your problem. That's not our problem. You go and fix your computer. Because that is the only way that if for some reason we're not able to go, they will be. It's like the history of your kid. If you give money to your kid until he's 45, it's going to be very hard. So he survived the real world. So that's one small example with their computer. But we help them with other things like legal stuff or complex stuff, or if they want to learn more. This year we concentrate in accounting. And the other thing that we're concentrating a lot is emotional education, because let's be sincere, we basically are led by our emotions. When you're mad, your decisions will be completely different when you're happy. They completely change your decisions in life. So we are focusing a lot in these poor communities with emotional education and financial education. Those are the two key aspects that we're trying to improve in communities that are vulnerable. But first, to answer a short question, after we deliver the project, we're just advisors.
Great.
Okay.
That's awesome.
You talked a little bit about the youth interaction, and you kind of just breezed. How do you interact with the youth? And I know that's a huge component of what you do. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay, the youths are a very amazing part of our program, because this is the long-term results that we were saying. We preparing the new generation. So we have this program that calls Seeds of Democracy, and basically what we do in Seeds of Democracy is leadership to the youth could administrate the water resources and the natural resources. And we have seen kids of 14 years old to resolve complex problems in their community. Like, for example, in San Juan de Mombacho, their pump break. And the ones that lead the process to replace the pump was the 14, 15, and 16-year-old youths that make letters to the mayor and went to the mayor and talked to them. Obviously, not all the kids will have this leadership, but we identify the ones that have more potential of leadership. One of the things that we're focusing on this part of the project is immigration. And I want to talk about immigration. And one of the worst things that could happen in our countries is immigration. Is that the people leave? They usually leave to the U.S. And one thing that I really want, like the audience to understand, is people doesn't want to live to the U.S. They don't want to go. They're just desperate because they don't have an opportunity here in their country. Like, this is the last resource. And they leave their families, they leave their kids, they go crying. When they live here, they go crying. They don't adapt to the US very, very fast, different culture, different language, different geography. They far from their families. So it's a huge sacrifice for them to leave our country. And everybody lose. And our country lose because we lose natural research, we lose capital, human capital. The U.S. lose because they have these persons that doesn't have all the things that they need to survive in their society. So it's a lose for everybody in the immigration process. So we are very focusing this year and this 2023, 2024 to stop immigration. That's one of the things that we want to focus the most, to keep the families united. And a lot of the ones that are leaving are the kids, are the youths. Leaving to the U.S. or leaving to Costa Rica to look for opportunities. So basically what we're doing is, investing in youth businesses. We invest in a restaurant. Now the restaurant in 1 year is completely sustainable. We invest like around $3,000 in this first stage, and we give a loan with no interest. And they could pay in a little small fees, like $50 per month, let's say. After 1 year that they have their business, we have right now 3 pilot businesses, and the 3 pilot businesses has worked completely because the motivation for this kid is not leaving their mom, not leaving their sister, not leaving their dog, not leaving their land.
Well, I think it'd be really cool to continue this conversation regarding, the groups or your foundation's participation in the youth and how you're kind of keeping the kids local and giving opportunities. So why don't we do that? We'll break here.
Okay. As a reminder, you are listening to Searching for Service. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Joe Kirk.
And I'm Chad Larson. We'll be back.
Welcome back to Searching for Service, brought to you by Rotary District 5950 and 5960. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Joe Kirk.
And I'm Chad Larson.
As a reminder, you can find us on your favorite podcast platforms. And
you look us up by looking up Searching for Service on any of those platforms. Give us some 5 gold stars. You know the thing. You say it, Chad.
We also have a YouTube channel. We love if you share it, like it, subscribe, and you can find us just about anywhere. Searching for Service.
And you get to see all of our faces.
Because some of you are watching us on YouTube, I want you to understand that Joe literally has it right in front of his face. Like, I wrote it out for him. But nevertheless, we still like to add them. If you are tuning in for the first time, we have Bernice Cunningham. He is the executive director and founder of Planting Change Foundation. If it is your first time tuning in, please do yourself a favor and go and listen to the last 2 segments so you can get to know Bernice and then understand what Planting Change Foundation is exactly.
Awesome. Well, we were talking about the youth, and then we kind of got into immigration. And as you're working with the youth, obviously you're a few years in or a couple of years in. How has it evolved over time, as maybe where you started to where you're going and where you plan to continue to engage with youth there?
Okay, so the main reasons that we start working with the youth is because we started working in education with a simple idea. If you change the kids, you change the world. And basically, the place where you building the society are the schools. There's where you building your society in every
Yeah.
country of the world. So we know that these are the individuals lab center, the schools, and our education system is not designed to educate you. That's the first things that we need to know. Is they're not designed to educate you. They're designed to program you to live the certain life that the system wants you to live. So we want to change that, and that's why we focus in environmental education to see why the environment is so important. Emotional education and financial education. We think those three key elements will help the youth change. During all these years, we have so many success with the youths. And when you invest in a person from 6 years old, from 7, 12, 14, when they're 20, they're completely different persons. All of these kids have go to university. And I'm talking, we concentrate on the kids that have lack of opportunities. Like if you're born in a strong family with all the opportunities, but we're talking about kids that sometimes doesn't have a father, sometimes doesn't have a father or mother. They live in a really disaster conditions and a really poor conditions. So we want to focus on the kids that have zero opportunities. We want to focus on the kids that have that life has not been justice with them, and we tell them that life is not about justice. You could see it everywhere. It's not about justice, but we can work hard to get you opportunities, but it will be your self um, uh, objectives. So the first thing that we tell the youth is like nobody will save you. Nobody. Not me, not the Planting Change Foundation, not Seneca, not your teacher, not your dad. The only one responsible for you is you. Is it. And if you want to grow, if you want to get all the opportunities, you have to be disciplined, you have to be ordered, you have to think in positive, because we one of the ways that we have so much success is changing the mindset. Because when you're born in the streets, when you're born in a really poor things, when you're born with violence, in these areas of life, you find a lot of horrible things that happen to these kids, abuses in all kinds of ways. So to fight this is a really psychological project where we try to take them to, if you take them to a nice restaurant, just that experience in their life is completely different because they change their mindset. They say, oh my God, I'm value. I'm value. I could come to this place. So it's a project that we try to give them the best experience. We take them to travel and we talk about them and how they are responsible for the life. And then right now we're working in a scholarship program where we send them into universities, the ones that are more big. So it's a mindset program for the youth.
Very interesting.
I
Go ahead.
so forgive me if you connected the dots here, but can you share maybe again the connection to Rotary and one, how that connection started, like how it came to fruition, and then what that support looks like for Planting Change?
Okay, the first person that I met, it was Rick Hadig. Rick from Minnesota, from the Lift program. He called us and about a well in El Corozo, in a Zoom call, because they were trying to build this well for several years, but the organization that was working with them was not their expertise was not well. So we start talking and we talk about the Rotarian values, and we were really, really aligned with
Mm.
these values, and we make this well. Now we have different programs with the Rotarian. I want to talk a little bit about what we're doing right now at the moment with the Rotary Club, and we're doing an agriculture program and in the LIFT program, and we're preparing a global grant. This global grant basically is going to create a thing that we call the Small Agriculture Logistic Hub and Seed Bag Center. And what this means that there's a lot of people that are vulnerable, but they have land. They have a lot of land because we have a revolutions in the 80s in Nicaragua. So a lot of the small farmers have land. But what happened is what happened in most of the country. The intermediaries take advantage of them. They produce beans, they produce apples, they produce orange. But someone in the middle of Walmart or some of these big companies come and they pay the price that they want to pay because the producer doesn't have a truck to take the products, the crops out of the land. So what basically this project wants to do with the Rotarian in 2024 is to create a logistic hub and a seed bank
Cool.
center. So we're going to give seeds to them. They're not going to produce any kind of seeds. They're going to produce seeds that we already identified in the market that have strong value and that is easy to export, that they don't need too much water and that doesn't hurt the system. We are environmentalists, so we don't work with transgenics, for example. We don't work with pesticides and we don't work with any agrochemics that hurt the land. And that's one of our philosophy. It's not easy. I'm going to tell you, it's not easy to do it. It's super hard to do it. Everybody don't like it too much in the producer side, but we're working on that.
Yeah. Do you get a lot of heat for that then too? You probably
Yeah,
talk a lot about politics, right? But I'm sure you get a lot of heat for that because this day and age, all you see is pesticides and all that stuff that's being used in regards to agriculture. So
Well,
it's
like he
something
said, short term it works, but long term
Right.
it destroys the
Yeah, I
environment
mean-
so much and poisons other things. So
Yeah.
well, I mean, it's a great mission, and I think it's a really, really creative way to create economy within those local communities that wasn't there before, and it sounds like it's been exploited globally because of that, because they don't have the ability to ship their product out or just simply a truck.
Yeah.
And you mentioned something earlier, and you said, I know $5,000, for the well doesn't seem like a lot in the U.S. I flipped that around and I was like, wait a second, $5,000 is all that it cost, and whatever. Maybe that doesn't consider the ongoing cost, right? But I'm like, $5,000 and all those people drink water.
Yeah.
Like how does that like
compute?
Yeah, like it seems like that just seems like a great cause and low hanging fruit, to use our agriculture to go after, because man, $5,000 and it impacted probably hundreds of people.
Oh yeah, I want to clear. The project was $120,000.
Okay.
So-
Thank you. I was like,
But
wait a
is it
second.
to like operate it then?
That was
like,
looking after reserves.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh,
The
no,
project was $120,000, and this was spent in the drilling. That was one of the most expensive because it was 1,000 meters down the ground,
Holy
and it was
smokes.
spending all the infrastructure, tubes, meters, connect to all the 700 houses. What I mean about the $5,000 is that after we invest this money, you need to pay money to keep this project going because you need electricity to give water to all the people. And usually what happened in a lot of projects that you just go and give, if you could spend whatever amount of money, but then the people could not maintain the project. So the $5,000 are related to operational costs that the people have accomplished.
How long does that $5,000 last them?
It's just the reserve. It means that they cover all the payments monthly, but we save money. It's a reserve. They not spending it.
Tracking now.
Yeah.
So we have just about 30 seconds here. I think one of the main things that we want our listeners to do is know a good way that they can connect with you or support you for that matter. Could you share in about 30 seconds what that could look like for them?
Yes, please go to our website, plantingchangefoundation.com. And we're working in a crowdfunding right now to finance our 2024 educational program. I will share the links with you in email if you could share it with anyone, and we could put it in the audience. I think those two things are two specific things that you could help us. And please go to our website so you could know more about our projects.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'll put those in the description as you're listening, so you'll see the links that he mentioned.
As a reminder, you are listening to Searching for Service. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Joe Kirk.
And I'm Chad Larson. We'll be back.
Hello and welcome back to Searching for Service, brought to you by Rotary District 5950 and 5960. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Joe Kirk.
And I'm Chad Larson.
As a reminder, you can find us on your favorite podcast platforms, and
we also have a YouTube channel. We love if you share, like, and subscribe. And how do they find us?
You can find us by looking up Searching for Service in that search bar.
Wonderful.
Perfect.
Wonderful. We're in our last segment here for Searching for Service, and we have Bernice Cunningham, who is the executive director and founder of Planting Change Foundation. You're going to want to go back and listen to the last 3 segments because this is a pretty impactful foundation. So you'll want to understand what that means. But Bernice, in this last segment, we really like to discuss in this circumstance, with you being the founder of Planting Change Foundation, what the future holds. So let's actually start off with what your role could look like within the organization looking forward.
Okay, so our organization right now has 10 persons working, 26 volunteers. We have 6 people in our board. We have Networks International. We have a lot of support international. Every single finance organization that have finance projects are financing again. One thing that I want to mention is we don't do a lot of projects. We do just projects that have a key impact. So one of the things that we want to focus the most is keep fighting for our environment. Our environment is under attack by the extractivist industry. Who are the extractivist industry? Mining, oil, and all these industries. We want to have the best consciences to people, especially in the Latin America region, and how valued their resources are. We understand that water is going to be a national security thing for all the countries in the world. So we need to keep water completely safe, that in a really big strategic environmental conservation things. But there's not going to be we understood this in the last year, there's not going to be no environmental protection without social justice. Because when we go to a community and we start talking about climate change, the kids look at us like, what are you talking about? Are you crazy? I don't have food. What are you talking about climate change? What are you talking about garbage? Are you insane? I don't have food. I don't have a father. I'm suffering violence. So the way to save and to protect our world is with social justice, is to give. And social justice is not giving stuff. It's not charity. Social justice is giving dignity to the human beings, giving dignity to the people, giving the people the opportunities that they need to grow. That is what social justice from our perspective is, giving back the dignity of the people. So we believe in this. We believe in strongly in this. We have a team that believes strongly in this. I always tell my team, we're not looking for followers. We're looking for leaders. We need leaders here to lead this process. So every single person that is an organization are leaders. They're all very young. We hired a lot of people from last year of the university. We have economists, biologists, engineers, economic lawyers. We have a big diverse group. We have 26 volunteers, and they all have one thing in mind, is giving back people dignity. And one of the biggest things that we want to focus the most hard is to stop immigration from our countries. We don't want our people to leave. We want the opportunities to be created here. And of course, the US could help us, but it could help us with investment. It could help us with jobs. And that's the way that you could help. Like, if you want to stop immigration, please help and invest in a small community business. It's not going to take a lot of money. And these businesses could have their families together. We understand that this job's not going to be easy, and we're probably going to invest the rest of our life doing this, but we are ready. We're ready to do it. And if we don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. If we don't do it now, when we're going to do it? So we are, we understand very clear I like this word, the spirit of the times. The spirit of the times are very complex, a lot of wars, a lot of injustice going around, but we could not join the helpless system. We have to fight the system, and we have to bring justice and dignity to the people in our countries.
Yeah, I want you to think it's the year 2030. So what have you accomplished in 2030? Like what's
Big
going to be
goals.
some big,
Yeah.
big, hairy goal that you're going to accomplish by then?
Thank you so much for these questions. That's our strategic plan. So first, 50% of the people where we work are less poor, are not poor anymore. Like in the 10 communities that we are right now, 50% of that community is not poor anymore. How we accomplish that? Investment and productivity and financial education, because we could give some people the opportunity to get income, but since they just learn how to spend and spend and spend, it's not going to work. It doesn't matter how much. It's like when when people win the lottery, they don't stay rich. They don't stay rich because they don't have financial education. So we combine financial education, emotional education with income. So if we have these three aspects, we want to eliminate 50% of the poor people that in the communities that we are working. By 2030, we expect to work at least in 50 communities. By 2030, we want to have 0.5% of the private school system in Nicaragua, and we want to have a bigger team, and we definitely want to connect more the US with Latin America. We want to make a stronger connections. You need to come here. You need to come visit the communities. Maybe we do a postcard from our community. That will be an amazing opportunity. So
Lloyd's
come
watching
here.
this right now going, yep.
Yeah.
Come here. We have sun. We have the beach. We have a lot of things that you definitely will like. So, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for the invitation. We'll take you up on it.
Especially in the winter months
Uh-huh.
up here. I mean.
Yeah.
There's a trip in March. There's a trip coming from Minnesota in March that Rick Halick from the LIFT program is organizing. So there's an opportunity to come in March. So think about it. We're going to go to all the projects. You're going to see the well. You're going to see the agriculture. You're going to see the youths that build the restaurants. You could talk to them and tell them the experience. They're rural communities. They're mountains. The food is amazing. No transgenics. Nothing that is synthetic. You will taste real foods from Nicaragua.
That's right up my alley. That sounds amazing. Bernice, just selfishly, can you rattle off that gentleman's name again? Where is he from?
Rick Haydick. Rick Haydick is from the LIFT program, the Rotary Club in Minnesota. LIFT program, and I go to him. Yeah.
Sounds like a nice opportunity to have him on the podcast as well.
Yeah.
make the connections.
Absolutely.
So
Any last words of wisdom, or how about anybody that's here looking to get into service? Do you have any recommendations for them, since you kind of jumped right into it after changing course in your career?
Yes, my recommendation is life is short. If you don't like your job, quit now and try to do what you love. And this is in the Bible. I'm a Catholic person, and in the Bible say that God always give you more when you give, and this is totally true. When you give without any intentions, without any hidden intentions, your life change. When you love your job, you don't have to work anymore in your life because you just love what you do. So try to focus in what you love. There's a lot of injustice in the world, and we the good people, the people with values, have to fight this because we are the majority. The bad people are just a small group. So we need to keep together, and especially trying to fight a lot for the dignity of the people, and realize that we will not be here without the opportunities that our parents give us, that our country give us, that our economics give us. And there's a lot of people that sometimes we judge, but they have no opportunities. So please join, help Latin America, help us stop immigration, and help us keep the families united. Here, visit our website. And yes, that will be my last message.
Awesome.
Bernice, it's been an honor to have you on. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to Searching for Service. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Joe Kirk.
And I'm Chad Larson.
It's time to stop searching
And start serving.
We'll see you next week.